Hello Seahawks, today you're going to be taking notes on solving two-step equations, and you should have your note sheet in front of you that looks like this. Okay, you're going to learn how to solve a two-step equation using the inverse operation. And what we did with solving the one-step equations is what we're going to be doing with the two-step equations, except for obviously there's two steps instead of one. Our goal is to get the variable all by itself on one side of the equation. Okay, so in order to do that, you need to do the inverse operation to get the variable by itself. That's what we did for the one-step equation. But here's the problem. Now you have two steps. So you're going to undo the problem. So you're working backwards. When you did order of operations and you were solving a numerical expression, you would multiply or divide before you would add or subtract. In this case, we're going to be doing the opposite. We're going to be getting rid of the subtraction or addition first and then multiplying and dividing. So you're like undoing it because the variable is smack in the middle of the problem. It's not at the end. Okay? Remember, you're going to undo the operation by doing the inverse operation, and whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. Okay? So let's take a look at the first example. We have 3x plus 9 equals 15. And I'm going to rewrite the problem just like I did with our one-step equations. And eventually I won't make you do this all the time, but it is an important step right now. Okay, there are two numbers that we need to get rid of. We need to get rid of the 9, okay, and the 3. The 3 and the 9. In order to get x all by itself, we need to get rid of both the 3 and the 9. Okay, so if you remember from the last page, or from the top of your notes, we're going to do the problem backwards. We're going to undo the problem. So in order to get x by itself, you're going to work farthest away from x, and then all closest to x. That's how you're going to think of it. So the first thing I'm going to get rid of is the 9. And this is an add 9, so the inverse of addition is subtraction, so I'm going to subtract 9. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. 9 minus 9 cancels out, and you're left with 3x on the left-hand side. Bring down your equals. 15 minus 9 is 6. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of the 3. In order to get rid of the 3, a number next to a variable is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by 3. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. Okay, 3 divided by 3 would be 1x, or just x. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. So x equals 2. There's your answer. Okay, and we're going to do a check, because this is new to us. We want to make sure we're doing this properly. So, our equation was 3x plus 9 equals 15. Where the x is, we're going to plug in our 2. 3 times 2 plus 9, and we want it to equal 15. If you're following your order of operations, you're going to do 3 times 2 is 6. And then you're going to do 6 plus 9, which is 15. And 15 does equal 15, so that works out. Okay, let's try our next example. Number 2, we have negative 4x plus 5 equals 7. Okay? We need to get x all by itself. So in order to get x all by itself, I need to get rid of this negative 4 and this 5. I don't like the way that's right there. Okay, so we're going to do our order of operations backwards. We're going to get rid of the number farther away from x on the side of the equal sign first. So the first number you're going to get rid of is the 5. It's an add 5. The inverse of addition is subtraction, so you're going to subtract 5. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. Positive 5 minus 5 cancels out. You're left with a negative 4x on the left-hand side of the equation. Bring down your equal sign, and 7 minus 5 is 2. Okay, now in order to get x all by itself, I need to get rid of the negative 4. Okay, when you have a number next to a variable, that's multiplication. The inverse is division. So I'm going to divide by -4. If I divide by a +4, I'll be left with a negative. We want to be left with a positive 1x or positive x. So you divide by a -4. Whatever I do to one side, you have to do to the other. -4 divided by -4 cancels out. I'm left with 1x or x. And here on this side, 2 divided by -4, you can just leave it as a simplified fraction if you want. You know your answer is going to be negative, right? And 2/4 simplified is 1/2. So it would be a -1/2. Or you could say 0.5 if you want. Make sure it's negative, but I prefer the fraction. Okay, let's do a check over here to make sure we did it correctly. We have a -4, plug in my -1/2, so times -1/2. Plus 5, and it should equal 7. Okay, well, -4 times a -1/2. Let's look here. That cancels out. We could cross cancel here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, and I have 2 negatives, so 2 negatives equals a positive, and 2 times 1 is 2, plus 5, and 2 plus 5 does equal 7, so we're good. That was done correctly. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. If you want to try number 3 on your own, or maybe wait till number 4, you could do maybe those 4, 5, and 6 on your own after we do 3 together. I would maybe I would do 3 with me and then go to the next on your own, possibly. Let's see, let's try out number 3. Okay, I have y over -2, which is division, y divided by -2, plus 4 equals 24. We want to get y all by itself. In order to get y by itself, we need to get rid of this -2 and this plus positive 4. Okay, so the first thing we're going to get rid of farthest away from the y is the plus 4. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. I'm going to subtract 4. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, positive 4 minus 4 cancels out. That's 0. You're left with y divided by -2 equals 24 minus 4, 20. Now I need to get rid of that -2. Okay, well this is division here, right? So the inverse of division is multiplication. So in order to get rid of that -2, I'm going to multiply by, and I need to multiply by a -2 to cancel out the negatives too. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. -2 and -2, that cancels out to be 1. I'm left with y on the left-hand side of the equation. And then 20 times -2 is -40. So y equals -40. Now I'm going to plug in my y to do my check. I have -40 divided by -2 plus 4 equals 24. Let's see. -40 divided by a -2 is a positive 20 plus 4, and it should equal 24. 20 plus 4 is 24, and that is correct. We're good. Okay, now I might pause the video, try 4, then see how you did, and then maybe 5 and 6 the same way, okay? 7, 8, 9, and 10 are a little bit more difficult, so you definitely want to wait until to let me show you those, okay? Here we go for number 4. We have x divided by 5 minus 3 equals -4. Our goal is to get x all by itself. The first thing we're going to get rid of is the -3. Okay, the opposite of subtraction is addition, so we're going to add 3. Whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. Okay, and right here, -3 plus 3 cancels out. I'm left with x over 5 equals -4 plus 3 is a -1. Now I need to get rid of that 5, and that's division, so the inverse is multiplication, so I'm going to multiply by 5. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. These 5s will cross cancel out and give me 1, so I'm left with 1x, or just x, equals -5. Okay, let's do a check to make sure we did it correctly. -5 divided by 5 minus 3 equals -4. -5 divided by -5 is a negative, that -5 divided by a +5 is -1. Minus 3 equals -4. -1 minus 3 have same signs, add. Your answer is 4, and it's a negative. 3 is the bigger number. -4 equals -4, and that works out. Okay, let's try number 5. We have 3x minus 6 equals 12. We want to get x all by itself. In order to get x all by itself, I need to get rid of the subtract 6, the minus 6, so the inverse is subtraction, is addition, so I'm going to add 6. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. -6 plus 6 cancels out. I'm left with 3x on the left-hand side, and 12 plus 6 equals 18. Now I need to get rid of my 3. To get x all by itself, I need to get rid of the 3. This is a multiply. 3 times x. The inverse would be division, so I'm going to divide by 3. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. And 3 divided by 3 cancels out. I'm left with 1x, or just x. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so x equals 6. Okay, let's do a check on that, make sure it's correct. 3 times 6 minus 6 equals 12. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 minus 6 equals 12, and 18 minus 6 equals 12, so 12 does equal 12. We're good. Okay, number 6. We have -4x plus 4 equals -12. Our goal is to get x all by itself. In order to get x all by itself, I need to get rid of the -4 here and the plus 4 here. So first I'm going to get rid of my plus 4. The inverse of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 4. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. Plus 4 minus 4 cancels out. I'm left with -4x on the left-hand side. And -12 minus 4, I have same signs, add. 12 plus 4 is 16, and it's a negative because 12 is the bigger number. Now I need to get rid of that -4. This is multiplication, -4x, so the inverse would be division. I'm going to divide by a -4. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. -4 divided by -4 cancels out. I'm left with x equals, and then -16 divided by a -4 is a positive 4. Okay, let's check it out. Plug it into the equation. We have -4 times 4 plus 4 equals -12. -4 times 4 is a -16 plus 4. And -16 plus 4 equals -12, so we're good. Okay, number 7. Now the last 4 are a little bit more difficult. Hopefully you're okay so far. If you have any questions, make sure you write them down. Okay, for number 7, I have x plus 4 over 8 equals -5. Okay, and these are confusing. I remember when I told you that you could also think of this division bar as a parenthesis. So you could put this in like a parenthesis. So if we're undoing our problem, doing order of operations backwards, the first thing you need to get rid of in this problem is the 8. You're going to get rid of the divide by 8. And the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 8. Okay, and whatever I do to one side, you have to do to the other. So on this side, my 8's cancel out, and I'm left with a 1, x plus 4. So I'm going to bring down my x plus 4. And then I have negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. And now I have a one-step equation, which should be simple from there. But the important part is you need to remember that this is in a parenthesis here. So you're going to get rid of the 8 first, okay? Now it's easy. Want to get rid of your plus 4, so you're going to subtract 4. The inverse of addition is subtraction. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. 4 minus 4 cancels out, and you're left with x on the left-hand side. Negative 40 minus 4, you have same signs, add. 40 plus 4 is 44, and it's a negative 44 because 40 is the bigger number. Okay, and we're going to check this. We have 44 plus 4 divided by 8, and it should equal negative 5. 44 plus 4. Oops, that's a negative 44. Negative 44 plus 4 is a negative 40, a different sign, so you subtract, divided by 8, and we want it to equal negative 5. Negative 40 divided by 8 is negative 5, and negative 5 does equal negative 5, so we're good. Okay, and we'll go over a lot more of these. The next one is similar if you want to try it on your own first, and then replay the video. Okay, you're going to rewrite the problem. X minus 3 over 2 equals negative 4. So remember, this is in a parenthesis. You're going to do that last. Undo it, I should say last. So first I'm going to get rid of the divide by 2. In order to get rid of a divide by 2, the inverse would be to multiply by 2. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Over here, my 2's cross cancel out. I'm left with 1, x minus 3. And then negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8. Okay, now I need to get rid of the negative 3. In order to get rid of the negative 3, or the minus 3, I'm going to add 3. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so on the left-hand side, I'm left with x equals negative 5. Negative 8 plus 3, that's different sign, subtract, and 8's the larger number. So it's a negative 5. Okay, let's do a check on this. We have negative 5 minus 3 divided by 2 equals negative 4. Negative 5 minus 3 have same signs, add. You get a negative 8 divided by 2 equals negative 4. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is a negative 4, so you are good. Okay, let's try number 9. Okay, on number 9 we have 4/5 x plus 3 equals 19. Okay, on this one, we're going to first get rid of our add 3. Okay, so we're going to subtract 3. Whatever we do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. And the plus 3 minus 3 cancels out. You're left with a 4/5 x, and 19 minus 3 equals 16. Okay, now you need to get rid of the 4/5. So when you have a number next to a variable like that, that's multiplication. The inverse is division. But we don't divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 5/4. If I multiply by 5/4, what happens on that left-hand side of the equation? My 5's cross cancel, it'll be 1. My 4's cross cancel, it'll be 1. And there I am, I'm left with a 1x or just x. And then on the right-hand side of the equation, I could cross-cancel my 4. Divided by 4 is 1, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then you multiply across, and 4 times 5 equals 20. So x equals 20. Okay, that one's a little bit more confusing, but I think that's easier to understand than numbers 7 and 8. Let's check that by plugging in our 20. We have 4/5 times 20. I'm going to put that over 1. Plus 3, and it should equal 19. Okay, I could cross cancel my 20 and my 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So I have 4 times 4, which is 16, plus 3 equals 19, and 16 plus 3 is 19, and 19 equals 19. So that works. If you want to give number 10 a try on your own, go for it. Okay, last one. I have negative 5 minus 2/3 x equals negative 15. Okay, again, we're going to work farthest away from your x. So first we're going to get rid of that negative 5. In order to get rid of that, we're going to do the inverse, which is an add 5. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. Negative 5 plus 5 cancels out. I'm left with a negative 2/3 x equals negative 15 plus 5. You have different signs. Subtract. It's a negative 10. Okay, and now we have to get rid of the negative 2/3. This operation, negative 2/3, is times x. The inverse is division. But we don't divide fractions. We multiply by the reciprocal. So you're going to multiply by a negative 3/2. Okay, and whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Okay, if you don't divide or multiply by a negative, you're not going to get rid of your negative. This all cross cancels out to be 1. You're left with x on the left-hand side. And my 2 and 10, I could cross cancel there. Okay, with 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And I have 2 negatives, so my answer is positive. 5 times 3 is 15. And let's just plug that in. See if I could fit this here. Negative 5 minus 2/3 times 15 equals negative 15. Barely. Okay, let's see. My 3 cancels out, and my 5. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I have negative 5. And that would be a negative 5 minus 2 times 5 is 10 equals negative 15. And I can't really fit that there, but negative 5 minus 10 is negative 15. And negative 15 equals negative 15. And we're good. Okay, have a good day. And we'll see if there's a Ryan show. I don't know if he's up for one today.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ryan Show.
Went to Home Depot.
Okay, today we're going to learn about TVs and how dangerous they are. Oops.
Oh
my god. This is a TV.
But he stood up for you. He said, let's go the extra mile and go to shopping. He did.
TV is awesome. What's in the box? So, here's a hint. It looks like that.
Health insurance?
Nah, here, I'll give you a better hint.
Gym membership. Doesn't your health benefits get you discounted?
Okay, so, I'll give you a hint. It kinda looks like...
I know it works at Ocean Club.
Ocean Club doesn't exist anymore.
Whatever that place
What
is.
is Ocean Club?
Meridian.
Isn't that part of the hospital?
But that's just too much. That's too much for me. I can't spend $39 a month.
What was the one I just saw that was like $9 a month? I saw something recently.
Retro's
It was
$19.99.
like, holy shit.
Well, actually, Retro's $21 because you have to take it out of your bank account every month. You can't pay it off. You used to be able to pay it off every year, but you can't do that.
Now
They
let's
don't
check.
have to do it. I don't know, maybe.
This is the hint. What do you think, Jack? It looks like a big brick. No, you're wrong. Here, I'll give you more of a hint. Spider? How about now? A spider? More of a hint then.
So, how's your coffee, Shannon?
That's good.
How about now?
Driving all over the place. Like what I do when I live in
Looks
Oh,
like
it's already ice cold.
somebody's
Because we
in
split mine at
something.
shopping.
I don't know. Okay, then I have to give you a big hint.
We're hoping we got enough lights.
Come on, man, you brought your Reese's. It would be cut the man some, cut the man some slack.
More of a hint.
I was calling you when we were leaving party to tell you, leave the kids home alone and go to ShopRite. But then we ended up going. That was nice too.
How about now?
Yeah, he was really lost in ShopRite. It was like,
I give up. I don't know. Oh my gosh, it was so great.
just stopped in the middle of
An
the aisle.
ornament.
All in. I'm like, come on, Mike, let's go. He's like, I don't ever come here.
Now let me draw a road.
Those
Do
are
do
nice.
do doggy.
We didn't let you last year.
Why are they like, they're like flickering?
No.
They're solid on.
Yeah, they're solid on. They're solid on.
I don't know. The guys went out with his old manager. That's it.
So, I'm just,
I added the other one.
Let's make
Oh, so what I was telling you, when my whole head.
It's a blare.
I just had a tooth line. You just did a whole thing, a whole
now.
process.
Time to add the road
That's
part.
why I'm thinking that's the other reason why I might be doing that. Where the whole side of my head hurts.
What does this look like to you, Jack?
It's like a it's sort of like a TV.
How about now?
Andrew?
I'm not reading about it.
Another ornament.
How about this
Butterfly,
picture?
butterfly.
How about this next picture?
I don't know, that doesn't look like anything.
We're gonna have to cut that out of your diet, you know that.
Yeah. Oh, it's here now.
Protein shakes every day.
How about this?
Yeah, and just think, after next Friday, I won't have any more kids.
A picture.
Mmm, good one.
I told you.
Am I correct?
I don't know. It was all you.
It looked like a picture in a picture frame.
All pixel in a pixel frame.
And I haven't told anyone.
Now let's color in the box.
And yes, it's my own.
Do you think that this will take forever?
No.
Bad guess.
But, no,
Happy.
when I was dating Ashley, I had thought about it, you know, and then that went south, and then who did I date after that?
No, there was like 50.
Ooh, let's make a guy with a really bad cut. He got scratched by a bear.
Oh God.
And,
OMG, Jack
but
says.
Ashley
Oh,
was definitely in my mind
yes.
to do something.
Okay, so this is here. Actually, let's draw on his belly. See if this was his belly.
All about the same page. Right now.
Who?
You.
Nuh-uh.
From the in-betweener.
Good.
No. Nobody ever.
Now we need this.
You look on the road.
Are you almost done there?
No.
That's not GNR, dude. Did you hear Scout Island died?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Now this is very mathematical.
Huh? How is it mathematical?
Because there's a scratch.
Oh God, that's
No, but the
bad.
band, his band,
Now,
his band.
this is very mathematical because what do you think happened? I said it before. A bear scratched him. How do you spell bear?
So,
B-E-A-R.
Wrong.
B-A-E-R.
How do you spell bear?
E-A-E-R.
No, you're wrong. B-E-A-R.
That's what I said in the first place.
I know. Now, do you think that one line of this could erase this?
Yes.
Correct. How about this?
No.
Oops.
Didn't.
Most of it. Now, I'm going to do some math with you. What's B plus 4 equals 2?
How? How does it equal to?
-5 is what I'm guessing. Now, square plus square equals.
Square.
Let's see. Do you think this is a line, Jack?
No.
No, it is.
Oh.
Do you think this is a line, Jack?
No.
No, it is.
Oh, no.
Do you think this is a line, Jack?
Yes.
No, it's a square.
Oh my god.
I mean, no, it's a rectangle. Now, let's do rectangle. Let's do square plus.
He's gotta do, it's 20, 30 grand out of your pocket right off the bat. 20, sorry.
Square. Let's put it together.
What am I doing?
Equals square. 2 squares.
It equals rectangle. Are you kidding me? But all together it equals.
You can get very good, you're probably at 16, 17, that's with taxes.
What, Jack?
Equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It equals a face.
A face?
Yes. Eyes. Nope. I know what I can do. No, it equals a face. Eye, mouth. Now, who wants me to draw something?
Me.
No, like what do you want me to draw? Not you, Jack. Come on. People, tell me what you want me to draw. I just heard a lady say pizza with an arrow going into it. So that's what I'm going to draw. Sunny, no.